do we even celebrate the 4th of July to begin with? Great question. I'd love to tell you. So, the 4th of July, otherwise known as Independence Day, is the day that we commemorate the adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. The Declaration of Independence, you say? Yes. Why is this important? Now, I'm rather surprised that I even have to answer this question or feel the need to. I don't have to. I'm just a lady with a phone, but I choose to because I'm free to do so. But it has come to my attention that a lot of people out there don't know what the Declaration of Independence says. So, I mean, I get it. Our schools are woefully underfunded. So, yeah, let's take away more money from them. But, Google is free. So I'm going to read it to you. Buckle in, babies. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government should become destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them all seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Want the whole thing? Okay, let's keep going. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established shall not be changed for light and transient causes. And according all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to the right themselves abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such a government and provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patent sufferance of these colonies, the 13 colonies, the ones that they were declaring their independence from the British rule. Right. And such is the necessity which constrains them to alter their formal systems of government. The history and the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over the states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assistant to laws, to most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation, till assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in legislation, and a right inseminable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies that places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the dispositionary of the public record for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness that his invasions of the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for the exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without. He has endeavored to prevent the population of the states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their mitigations hither, and raising conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing to assent to laws establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat their substances. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of the legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of the state, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent. Let's read that again. For imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the beliefs of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. For transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. For abolishing a free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries as to render it at once an example of a fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging wars against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coast, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He at this time transporting large armies of foreign missionaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with the circumstances of cruelty, totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constructed our fellow citizens to take captive on the high seas and to bear arms against their country, to become the executioner of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring the inhabitants of our frontiers. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress and the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered by the repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act in which he may define a tyrant, and is unfit to be the ruler of the free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of the attempts by their legislature to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to the justice, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these interpretations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessary, which denounce our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, and peace friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Justice of the world, in the name, by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and right ought to be free of independent states, that they are absolved from an allegiance to the British Crown, and to all the political connection between them and the state of Great Britain. It is ought to be totally dissolved, and it is free in independent acts and things which independent states may right do. And for their support for this declaration, with a firm resilience of the protection of the divine province, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Thank you so much for joining me today on a special edition of Gigi Says What Now? Remember, you are valid, you are worthy, and you are loved. Goodbye!